Good evening, this is Ryan Mallory for SharePlanner.com. Today is October 12th, 2010. Pretty wild and crazy day on the market. When I woke up this morning, and I usually start my days around 4:30, 5 o'clock, sometimes even earlier, maybe 4 a.m. if I'm feeling real chirpy in the morning. But in any case, I woke up this morning and saw that the futures were trading down about 10 points on the S&P, and can't really find any better way to say that it stunk. I mean, I figured I was in for a long day. I'd see some profits in a number of my positions get pulled down some, and I'm pretty heavily invested to the long side. But while saying that, I'm heavily invested with some pretty tight stop losses. So the risk exposure isn't as bad as it might seem when I say I'm pretty much close to 100% vested to the long side. But in any case, I thought it was going to be a long day. Wasn't really looking forward to it. But the other thing that I had noticed too is that there was a lot of volatility overnight, more so than what we are accustomed to seeing of late here, where within a 5-minute candle or even a 1-minute candle, you could see a 2 to 3 point swing on the S&P futures. So there was a lot of uneasiness, I guess, going into the open, and then as we were approaching the open, within about a half hour, the market was paring a lot of its gains, where it went from about 10 points down to about 5 to 6 points down. But as soon as the market opened, we had that nasty sell-off. I'll pull up the chart on the S&P here for you to look at. Let's see if I can pull up a 15-minute chart here. Yeah, so as you can see here, we had a pretty hefty sell-off right there at the open, and then we spent most of the day, for the most part, just working our way back into positive territory. It wasn't until those Fed minutes came out at 2 p.m. that we saw a huge boost right here in the market, and then we continued to rally into the close. So I don't know. I mean, if I was betting, and I guess essentially I am, since I am a trader in this market. Going in tomorrow, I think that we'll probably see further price appreciation across the board. I'm also pretty optimistic about that based off of Intel beating earnings and revenue estimates. That has the stock trading higher, and CSX, the other big earnings report, is trading higher after earnings as well, after its earnings report as well. So I think those two items alone, plus the QE2 acknowledgement from the Fed in its meetings in its minutes from the past FOMC meeting, I think adds a lot of momentum going into tomorrow. And right now, as I'm speaking, we're up about 2 points on the S&P, so not a ton, but it could easily increase heading into tomorrow's opening. So I think there's nothing but positive news right now for the market. The biggest news piece being the QE2 that the Fed's likely to do, possibly November timeframe. Now, a quick note on that QE2, something that I've been thinking about. We could see a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event when QE2 finally comes to fruition, where the market actually does start selling off. A lot of these big anticipated events that we see in the past are usually bought up really heavily going into it, and then as soon as the event hits, we see a significant sell-off in the market. So whether or not it happens again, I'm not sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. How's that for playing both sides of the fence? I got stopped out of URS today. Not overly upset about that at all. Shouldn't be upset in general, but you can see it pushed way right below my exit, which was around 37.76, I believe, or 37.76, and went down, pushed me out, and didn't rally the rest of the day. I only had about a 4% stake on that position, so not overly upset with that. Took a very minimal loss on, I think, 1 or 2% for the most part. But I did add a couple of positions at the close, one of them which was BSX, and I look forward to seeing what that one does going into the open tomorrow. The S&P, I'll go back to the S&P chart here because I haven't really gone over it too much as far as from a technical standpoint, but As you can see, this channel line that I've been following for a long time continues to provide support. If I extend this line out some, continues to provide support for price. We keep hitting that 1156 mark on an intraday basis, and the market continues to find support there, and a lot of buyers that are willing to buy, add to their portfolios at that point. So we hit it again today, and then rallied thereafter. That was a pretty solid thing to see take place. But as you can see, we are approaching this 1174 mark, which the high of the day was about 1172. So we came close to testing it, but not a legitimate test as of yet. But if you can see here, this is the last level of resistance between here and the highs from April. So if we break through this point here, I think we can assume that it's all but certain that we test these April highs. Outside of that, for the bears, I think they need to try to push below this level here. From October 7th, they need to push the market back down. I thought we might even see that where we break below 1150. That wasn't in the cards for today. Had it done so, I think it would have changed the behavior and the dynamics of this market quite a bit. But that just wasn't going to happen today. The bulls bought the dip, and a good sign of a market that's continuing to trend higher. I'm not going to go into my positions in my portfolio today. There really hasn't been a lot of change over the last few days in the profitability of the portfolio, so no point in being too repetitive. So with that said, I'm going to wrap up everything. We'll look at tomorrow as the futures continue to trade overnight, and we'll see what kind of open that we have. And be sure to check out the trading plan and the daily long and short setups for tomorrow. All right, have a nice evening, folks.